and 3 I told you about becomes 1 and 2. We've got to modify eating behaviors. We're no longer, I used to say in the 90s, we were slowly killing ourselves with a fork. It's happening a lot faster. We've got to work faster, work harder, be more committed to ensure that our children have the ability to do what we are. This generation of children, this next generation of children, your child, it will be the first generation that's not expected to outlive their parents. And that doesn't mean that your child's going to die before you. Just your life expectancy is much greater than theirs. First time in our history. I'm telling you all this because I want you to understand this is serious business. This isn't about economics. This isn't about putting $50,000 on the bottom line. I got news for you. When I stopped worrying about the $50,000 and whether I was going to keep a job and start focusing on the responsibility that I had to provide children with healthy meals and encourage them to consume those meals and then teach them the importance of eating those meals, all of a sudden I enjoyed my job and the bottom line got healthy. So what's your director going to tell you when you say, I want you to buy fresh fruits and vegetables from the local farm? It costs too much. They don't understand something. We've got a serious perception problem in school food service. How many of you in this room get warm and fuzzy when I tell you we're going to eat lunch at the local elementary school? Anybody excited? I didn't think so. We've got a perception problem, and we can do something about that problem if we change what we offer kids. And that's what we did at Santa Monica. We took it a step further in Riverside. When I moved to Riverside in 2002, we have 43,000 students, 31 elementary schools, and we decided we were going to put salad bars in the schools. But I have to tell you a quick story about that. I go into a department that owes the general fund $3.1 million because they built this Taj Mahal, the central kitchen, went $1.5 million over budget, could not make the $500,000 payment, did massive layoffs, the morale was terrible, and they asked me what was I going to do. I said, I'm going to put salad bars in school. That's what they did. They laughed at me. They said, this isn't Santa Monica. Remember what I said, we've got a perception problem. So we start working on providing healthier food. I wanted you to think, when you think of your local school district, I want you to think of it with pride and be able to talk about what they're offering your kids. And there's another thing that we must understand if we're food service directors that they don't always understand, is that school food service is a business. A lot of people are uncomfortable with that thought, but we're in the business of nutrition services. And when we begin running our operations like it's a business, only then will we be able to generate the revenue to provide the type of meals our kids should eat. So let me speed the story up. I'm going to take you right to the end of it. I stand here today before you after 8 years in a school district that was feeding 47% of their kids when I went in there. We now feed 70%. We've grown $1 million a year in revenue over the last 7 years. We've eradicated the $3.1 million debt. We have a $5.1 million reserve. And we have a nationally recognized salad bar where kids are eating healthy every day, where chefs are going into the classroom to teach, where nutritionists are doing what they should do instead of writing menus, going into the classroom and teaching parents what they need to do to help their child out. Don't let anybody tell you what can't be done. The real real challenges for my colleagues are up here. The hardest thing to change is your mind. And as we get older, it gets even harder because we can't even remember what's in our mind. So, I'm here for one reason, and one reason only. To implore you to hear what I'm talking about when I talk about my children. I want to see my grandson grow up, and I don't want him to have diabetes, and I don't want him to be obese, and I want him to outlive his father. Because I watched my mother bury 2 of her kids. You're never the same. You lose a part of yourself. This is serious business we're talking about. The work that you've done for 25 years is so meaningful. I was speaking to a woman this morning who told me she's been involved in ag in the classroom for 37 years. Is she still in here? Teacher out of San Diego.
No. I think it was Shirley. Shirley? I saw you.
Oh, there she is.
She's been in education, I think.
37 years on the front line, connecting children. Many of you are educators, and I don't need to tell you that children model their teachers and their parents. And so one of the things we did at the salad bar that no one ever thought about is we targeted the adults, and we said to them, we need you to go through the salad bar. Because when you go through that salad bar, it sends a powerful message to a child. When it's back to school night, we take the salad bar this day to all 31 elementary schools on back to school night, regardless of how many schools have it that night, because we want the parents to see what we serve their children. Because for adults, it's not until you see it that you truly understand what we're talking about. That's how we change the perception so that when you dropped your kid off, rather than go make that sack lunch you didn't want to make every night. And if you've been around the schools during lunch and you take a look at the sack lunches, make you want to slap the parent. Kids are still bringing sodas to school. They're getting the little Lunchables high in sodium, high in sugar. You get a candy bar for dessert. Those are the same parents that criticize what I do for a living, I want you to know. And I just smile as I walk through there. And we try to implore them to do as I'm imploring you. This is the battleground. The work that you do. The revolution started years ago. It's a good time to be involved with school food service right now. You can't look at any news. You can't open a magazine without hearing about school nutrition. The First Lady talks about her garden. The Let's Move campaign. Chefs connecting with schools. USDA came out. Did a big piece, it's on their website. Everyone wants to improve school food. And you think, well, it's just easy enough. Why don't you go buy better food? We get about $1 to buy a lunch. Go buy me a real good lunch. Real good one. That's what it is. It's a joke. But rather than sit back as a director and say, well, I need Uncle Sam to give me some more money. I got news for you. Uncle Sam's not solving all our problems. And please don't look to the state of California. Do you know how they pay bills? How many is in school food service? Just one?
Yeah,
two.
Nutrition educators.
Okay. In school nutrition, here's how it works. We get reimbursements from the state government. When they run out of money, guess what they do? They just don't pay you. No, I owe you. They just don't pay you. Wouldn't we like to have that luxury? My money runs short, so I'm not paying for my car note. That's how they do it. So if we're going to sit around and wait for the feds to give us more money in order to take care of our kids, we're in trouble. But if we run our business like it is a business, then you feed the Meals on Wheels program. Or UC Riverside's frozen food gets delivered into my operation and we deliver it to them and we charge a fee for that. And if my truck passes by a church, nonprofit, for-profit, whatever, we will deliver their food. Because that brings in added revenue so that I have the funds that I can spend more money on fresher fruits and vegetables that are not going to end up in the trash. And we can introduce an African-American kid to jicama. I guarantee you they won't know what it is, and they won't know that if you put a little chili and lime on that baby, you're going to have a little fun. We can introduce them to kiwi. We can introduce them to a number of non-traditional fresh fruits and vegetables. Usually in schools you're looking at apples, oranges, and bananas. That's it. I have trouble peeling a orange. But we'll give it to a kindergarten. And we don't understand why they're not eating it. But here's where we get mixed up here. Here's where we get mixed up. We say the orange from the farmer is too much. So I pay 11 cents from the traditional distributor to get that uniform fruit. It's nice and shiny with the wax and all of that. It tastes like cardboard because it's probably sitting in somewhere else frozen for the year before. And the kid takes it and throws it in the trash. Just throw away 11 cents. But if I take it and put it on the salad bar and I make it user-friendly and I incorporate government commodities like turkey, ham, tuna, and things like that for the protein, now what I've done is I've taken a protein where a pizza might cost 80 cents. My protein from the government costs me less than a penny. That allows me to buy the fruits and vegetables at a little higher cost. But guess what? They're at the peak of their season. They taste better. We can teach kids about blood oranges. I know, I heard it. We can teach them where food grows, how to respect our earth, why it's important to compost, why it's important to recycle. We can teach them to become a generation of healthy eaters, lifelong healthy eaters. So know that the work that you do is very important. The fact that you're here is very important. And if I've done nothing but to have you leave here more committed than when you came, to understand the seriousness of what we do and hopefully inspired you, although by the quiet in this room, I'm afraid you're all going to cry soon. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the 2 or 3 little jokes. I think I'm at the end of my time. I want to give you a chance to ask questions if you have them. So I'll open it up to the floor now.